What's up, guys? It's your girl Frismika, your favorite fashion designer and fashion icon. And welcome back to my channel where we talk all things fashion. So today, we're going to be continuing my new series, which I decided to call Sew Nostaglic. In this series, we talk about iconic fashion brands and fads that made a significant impact on pop culture. We explore the rise, the fall, or the comeback of empires from the past that made their mark on fashion history. One of my favorite pop culture primates that captured the essence of whimsical childhood nostalgia is Julius, but better known by the brand name Paul Frank. When I was in my preteen era, I remember mixing and matching my cozy little Paul Frank pajamas to make sure my sleep fit was on point before I went to bed. The contagiously colorful brand would ignite my inner stylist, subliminally influencing my love for the pop art aesthetic. In today's episode, we're going to be diving headfirst into the vibrant and fascinating history of Paul Frank. And we'll be learning about how he almost lost the rights to his own name. If you're a fan of eccentric and unique designs like I am, you're definitely in for a treat. So grab your favorite pair of PJs and let's dive in.
I grew up always wanting to do things that were unique, or maybe wear things that were unique. I like to do things that are different and unexpected. I really pushed myself. Every time I push myself, things come out better. My colors came from the 70s. I realized there was an old warehouse where they had leftover material from the 70s. And it happened to be orange, marigold, olive green, light blue, and those became the Paul Frank colors. I've been having a lot of fun giving back to the community by teaching kids and adults how to make stuff. That moment when it clicks, they're like, oh, I get it. And I love that moment. I love to see that happen with my students. So it's very rewarding to be able to teach people and give them encouragement to just try to make things with their hands. My message is, don't forget to never grow up.
Our story begins in a small garage in a suburb of Huntington Beach, California back in 1995, where a talented artist named Paul Frank Sunic had a passion for creating fun and whimsical characters. Paul Frank didn't necessarily set out to be a brand icon or even a fashion designer. He did, however, have a lifelong interest in art, which led him to attend Orange Coast College after graduating from high school. There, he would study art, and though it took him 8 years to complete his degree, Frank had always been driven by deeply creative impulses. He took inspiration not from legendary fashion designers or even classical artists, but mid-century masters like Ames and George Nelson. Having been gifted a sewing machine by his mother after graduating, he initially began with crafted wallets as thoughtful presents for his friends. It wasn't long before he landed on the distinctive monkey logo that he named Julius, which was inspired by the classic sock puppet.
And so these are the first drawings of Julius, the monkey. And the reason why is because our grandma made sock monkeys. And so we always had grandma's toy on the shelf, and it was revered because you couldn't play with it. Yeah, ooh, grandma made that, right? But you had to play with other toys. So there's always something kind of a mystique about that.
This choice proved to be a pivotal moment as his designs began to gain popularity. The charm of Julius and Frank's other creations turned into a local word-of-mouth sensation, attracting a devoted base of repeat customers.
Today we're speaking with Paul Frank, who is the creator of that wonderful clothing line with all the cute monkeys. How did you even come up with that concept?
Well, I just like to make custom things, and designing accessories was a way where I could make things that nobody else had. I was influenced by the sock monkey, a monkey made out of brown socks with a red smile. Yeah. And it was something I made for my old girlfriend, and then I started making for all my friends, and it just became popular.
Before long, local entrepreneurs approached him. They were eager to assist Frank in elevating his pop art design enterprise and introduce it to a global audience. One of the patrons of the newsstand where Frank worked, named Ryan Hauser, was the public relations manager for Massimo. During that period, Massimo had a formidable presence in the activewear industry. One day, Frank crafted them a personalized wallet, and it became evident what a genuine talent he possessed. It was in that moment that Hauser proposed the idea of going into business together. Hauser put up $5,000 of his own money, and offered up the garage in his home as a workspace for their startup business. 2 years later, a man named John Oswald came on board as the CEO. At the time, he was dating Hauser's roommate and couldn't help but overhear the inner workings of the budding design company. Despite having just $3,000 in their business checking account at first, Oswald and Hauser managed to secure $500,000 in orders during the Action Sports Retailer show in February 1998. Many, if not all of the investors interested in Paul Frank Industries were primarily interested in licensing Julius the monkey. Frank will later reflect on this, stating, quote, "I remember designing things that never got sold because people only wanted to take on Julius, and that was okay." Frank would open his first retail location in San Francisco in August 2001. He would draw inspiration for his store concept from the aesthetic influence of Disneyland. The brand would amass 34 locations globally by 2003. Each store would have its own special characteristics, indigenous to their specific neighborhood. And by 2006, Paul Frank was going worldwide, opening 15 stores throughout North America, South America, Asia, Europe, and Australia. And soon, Paul Frank Industries will become one of the first brands to capitalize off collaborating with established properties. Some of those ventures included Hello Kitty in 2002. This was the first time another character outside the Sanrio universe was featured. The collaboration included a collection of bags and accessories. Then, in 2003, the brand celebrated the 50-year anniversary of the birth of rock and roll through a limited edition Paul Frank Elvis Presley CD case. This was part of a very limited collection of 5 items. Those items included a jukebox wallet, a CD case, a guitar purse, an Elvis belt, and a Julius wallet. In 2004, the brand collaborated with Barbie through a partnership with Mattel. They launched a limited edition Barbie doll for the holiday season. The Barbie was dressed in Paul Frank pajamas that came with matching undies and accessories. 2005 will mark the 10-year anniversary of the brand. They then partnered with the Andy Warhol estate and delivered a knockout mix of affordable clothing. The line was available at Paul Frank boutiques and Urban Outfitters, with the entire collection being sold out fairly quickly. At that point, Paul Frank was everywhere and even targeted more youth-oriented brands like Lego.
First up is a Julius keychain. Now, Lego and Paul Frank Industries did a collaboration back in 2006, and they made some clothing and some vinyl accessories. And it's got a little tag here that says Lego and Paul Frank Industries on it. And next up, they made this sticker pack. Now, these items were sold both at Legoland California gift stores as well as the Paul Frank stores. Now, most of these were the graphics that appeared on the clothing and the vinyl items. And next, you have Julius and Worry Bear. They're building Lego with their Lego buddy. Then you've got a little bit of Lego humor here. Hey, can you change it too? Then you've got one of my favorites, Julius and Clancy as Lego spacemen. Then you've got the classic minifigure with a Paul Frank shirt on. And another case of Lego humor. Instead of getting a haircut, he's just changing his hairpiece. Then a nod to the old early 70s branding that used to be on the Lego boxes. And finally, you get the minifigure in his pajamas trying to decide what Paul Frank shirt he wants to wear.
Then, in 2013, Paul Frank introduced the Go Bananas with Julius Happy Meal that launched in November that year and ran into December. Some of the items that the Happy Meal included were magnets, a watch, a luggage tag, a Julius figurine, a stationery kit, and a bracelet for fans to collect.
McDonald's Happy Meals just got crafty. There's a rockin', stylin' Paul Frank accessory in your McDonald's Happy Meal.
Apart from the alliances I mentioned, the brand has also worked with companies like Oscar Mayer, Nintendo, City Bike, and John Deere, just to name a few.
It's Farmer Julius, and it comes with a free pig, and the pig's name is Esther.
Esther, is that a new Paul Frank figure?
Old character, but we brought her back because, you know, she's a pig, pigs and farms. You know how it works. Look at this cute little hat. It's just like mine.
Does it also have the tear? It doesn't have the tear. You got to put the tear in there.
Oh shoot, we forgot the tear. I'll give it to my dog.
Either that or sew it up.
Well, my dogs shoot this one, so I just got to get my own doll and let my dog play with it for an hour. This is the women's of course it's a woman's bag. Not very many men carry a bag.
No.
But look at, these are some of the earliest John Deere vehicles. Isn't that cute? And look at this cool texture. I got this old texture from an old 50s shoebox.
That's pretty cool.
And I thought it would be really cool. Like, it's all kind of Victorian, kind of just really vintage looking.
Vintage, yeah.
And I wanted to use gold. I don't really like gold, but I felt like for this, since it was so like early looking, I wanted gold. Yeah. And this is one of the best pieces.
The belt.
Isn't that cute? Only Paul Frank can make something like this.
Paul Frank Enterprises' humble beginnings were heavily influenced by the music scene. His company has collaborated with a multitude of rock bands that adored his experimental work. Those artists include Gorilla Biscuits, Radiohead, Every Time I Die, 18 Visions, and Bad Religion. Drake Bell would even headline a sponsored show in collaboration with the brand for the Academy of Awesome tour.
Drake Bell is the star of Nickelodeon's Drake and Josh. He's also a singer-songwriter and did some crowd pleasing favorites.
But this is not the end to the list, as other musical and design partnerships that he has worked with include Lollapalooza, Coachella, KROQ-FM, a radio station in LA, and the brand even made an appearance at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in 2011 in the form of a float.
In the world of Paul Frank comes everyone's best friend, Julius. Note the double thruster jetpack, size of about 2 school buses. With his 19-foot wide iconic smile, Julius rockets through New York in style, bringing fun, fashion, and entertainment to fans across the globe.
This holiday season, join Julius on his coolest new adventure, Swashbuckler by Paul Frank. It's a new free game, available now on iTunes and at the App Store.
Paul Frank would even make his way onto our TV screens, with Julius and Friends premiering in 2005 and later Julius Jr. in 2013. The brand's popularity will also lead to features on pop culture television shows, further validating its relevance.
From the University of Pittsburgh, this is the Jeopardy College Championship.
Today we have these categories awaiting you. Monkey business. Larry, you start us off, please.
Let's finish it out for 1,000.
Julius the monkey, seen here, is the mascot of this brand. Kelly.
What is Paul Frank?
Correct.
At the height of their success as a trio, the company made $40 million annually and employed a staff of 120 people. The brand was reaching new heights with their partnerships and global expansion, but Frank was in need of a change. And at the peak of his fame, the designer was about to face an almighty downfall. When Frank decided to get married, his partners urged him to get his bride-to-be to sign a prenuptial agreement, which would protect his own money as well as the company's. Frank felt it was in poor taste to meddle in his personal affairs. In retaliation, he didn't invite either of them to his wedding. When he returned from his honeymoon, he found his office at their headquarters completely cleared out. And on November 1st, the company's board voted to terminate Frank without cause and buy back his 30.4% share for an amount determined by a formula in their shareholder agreement. They will offer him $600,000, but Frank insisted in nothing less than $13 to $14 million. According to Vanity Fair, a flurry of legal maneuvering began. The company requested an injunction to prevent the man born Paul Frank Sunic from doing business under the name Paul Frank. A judge would later throw out the injunction, but cautioned Frank not to start any companies using a similar name. Once Frank had split from his namesake company, he founded another studio called Park La Fun. Through his new alias, he worked with several other high-profile brands. In 2010, Hauser and Oswald sold Paul Frank Industries to Saban Brands. Hauser would stay on while Oswald resigned. But true to the circular, yet somewhat ironic path life can sometimes put us on, Frank would return to the company that bared his name. In 2016, he would rejoin the brand as Director of Creative Development. Frank said, quote, "Julius and all of the Paul Frank characters are a part of me, which is why it's such an amazing feeling to reunite with them." You can now shop Paul Frank directly from their website or on sites like Amazon, Journeys, Target, and some of the original designs are available on resale sites like eBay and Depop. Julius the monkey became an iconic pop culture figure, and the brand's commitment to creativity, individuality, and of course fun has made it a timeless favorite for people of all ages. Reflecting on the history of Paul Frank has made me realize the importance of owning every piece of your intellectual property, whether it's a name, a product, or a work of art. Even in my personal experience as a fashion designer, I ended up having to get one of my most well-known designs patented to make sure I get all the residuals from my creation. And this deep dive has also shown me that you have to be worried about who you decide to do business with, because you never know what hidden agendas people have up their sleeves. But I hope you guys enjoyed this trip down memory lane. Be sure to let me know in the comments what your favorite Paul Frank memory or product is. Also, leave me a comment letting me know what fashion empire you want to hear about next. Thanks for watching. Bye.